Yes, yes, yes. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another Sunday Scoops. And as Richie always says, if it's today, it is...
Sunday and Sunday Scoops Day.
Yeah, man, rice and peas day.
Rice and peas and oxtail and chicken.
I don't know about the oxtail,
Ray,
brethren. Them
ray.
thing with this cost of living, I don't know about oxtail.
No, man, the price is
$13 a pound. The price drop?
Yes, yeah, shop at the wrong place. That's the problem.
Okay. All right, boss.
I'm
You
introduce
need to learn me.
But-
You need to learn me where to shop.
Yeah, we need to learn it. But today we're going to learn our listeners about a man who has contributed heavily, significantly to a batch of music that we all grew up on. In fact, that has literally overtaken the world. We're talking about none other than the late Tyrone Downie, former keyboard player with the Wailers.
Yeah.
Yes,
Actually,
Paddy.
this man come in like a torpedo. And when you start dig, you realize how deep he goes and the impact when him lick. Trust me.
You know, it also do to God, and Jamaican music is significant. It's deep. It's influential. It just tells you the kind of contribution that our artists and musicians have made, and not just to Jamaican music, by itself, but global music, because over time Jamaica's music has influenced music all over the world, and you see that in terms of Tyrone's reach and impact on the international music sphere. A lot is known about Mali and the Wailers per se, but this gives us a really good opportunity to look inside and to hear the stories of others who have contributed. And today we're bringing a couple of people together who is able to speak to Tyrone and his impact on the music and so on. So, I see we have a number of erstwhile individuals
Brethren,
who
it's
have
not a
joined.
number. It's two of them.
What? And
So far.
No,
two is
number
not a
is
number.
more than two.
Two is a number, you know?
No, that's a couple. And three is a few.
Mikey, take him off of me
Anything
now, man,
over
please.
three, then you can say is a number. But
Well, we say 1, 2, 3. You know?
yes.
Yeah.
1, few, 3.
1, 2, 3. All right, let's get
Yeah,
cracking.
we have
guys.
Mikey Bennett and we also have Mr. Towder.
Mr. Bernard. It's up Bernard Tota Harvey.
Yeah, man. It's no Brethren in America. It's Powder.
We have a global audience. But so today we want to pay some tribute to the Wailer who has fallen, and
And Richie, before our two special guests come on, we're going to lick a shot, Mission Impossible, Tyrone Downie on the album Interpretations and Improvisations, a tribute to Jackie Me Too. Yeah, the unmistakable sound of that organ on keyboards, Tyrone Downie.
unmistakable is right.
We are joined by someone else, Richie.
Oh, this is my sister from another mother and father. Hyacinth.
What's up, Richard?
Listen, this is a panel that goes deep, and again today we want to tell Tyrone Downie's story through the people who knew him, who have worked with him, who not just us, me and you, God, who would listen to the music over the time. Ironically, Tyrone Downie.
And a little tups of music.
Right. Tyrone is a Fortis man. Right, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, a Fortis man.
We're clear that.
Yeah, we're gonna just put that out there on a pedestal. And, came into KC at a time when a lot of youngsters who themselves, yourself included, Mikey, were just becoming aware of the power of the music coming out of Jamaica in that late 1960s period, and over time have contributed to building this foundation that has become the music. Of course, Tota, you guys played together, and this is a story that we want to talk about. But Hyacinth, you your relationship with Tyrone. Walk us back.
Oh, oh man, Tyrone was a bona fide. Tyrone was my brother. He was an adopted brother to us, you know? And I doubt that people really realize the kind of human being that he was because they know him. A lot of them got to know him from just the music. But for me, it went way beyond the music. And I remember as a youngster, every evening after school, he, another brother, Oscar, and I would go down to Beeston Street, Bob Marley's shop, every evening after school, except for when I was running tracks. You know, I couldn't go at that time. And both of them also were in Kingston College choir. Both of them sang soprano. There's an album that they made with both of them doing sopranos, you know. And another one who did it too was Garth. And I believe Newton Jacks also. So I used to sit in the chapel and listen to some of those rehearsals. And man, they were outstanding. Like I said, Tyrone was very good musically, and that was his passion. That's what he wanted to do. And he grew up learning a lot, going just to, first of all, from dogs, and then going to Bob's shop. When he went there, I'm fast forwarding a little bit now, because when he joined Bob's band, he had so much knowledge that he had gotten from dogs that he was Bob's musical director. I don't know if a lot knew that, but he was his musical director, or that's what he told me.
Mikey,
Yeah, go ahead.
hold that thought higher. Mikey, you went to KC with Tyrone. You would have been at KC at the time.
Yeah, as I also remember the choir. Well, we didn't call it support, we called it treble at the time.
Right.
So I was also one of the choir boys, me and the campers and stuff. I didn't know Tyrone and I weren't in the choir together. But I met Tyrone. But you know, as you mentioned, dogs, you know, I was looking at that thing with Tyrone yesterday, and he was speaking French so fluently as he became able to do. And I thought my mind flashed to Dogs right away, because Dogs spoke French quite fluently.
That's true, right.
And Dogs would have been so proud of him to see that, you know, one of his former students was actually ingrained in the French culture and speaking French without translating, just off the cuff. But
well, to continue, let me say Tyrone spent many years living in France, you know, and learned the culture. And one of the things I have to give Fortis credit for is at an early age they did a lot of languages. I'm an Excelsior alumni myself. But my brother went to.
Yes, brethren.
Yeah, my
Squeeze
brother's
the
a
team there.
Fortis man too.
we're not holding it against him.
We're not holding it against it, no. Absolutely not.
You know,
But
yeah, my
I would like
brother's
to
a
say
Fortis
something
man,
about
and he
that
learned to
too.
speak French too.
Yeah. But hold on.
I'd like to
So that's good.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Tota, carry on.
Yeah, as I said, my brother, who's a Fortis man, learned French. So I credit the school system in Jamaica, you know what I mean, for doing that, especially at KC, where KC actually did the languages. We only, at Excelsior, as far as I know, we did Spanish. We never ventured over into the French area. But
Yeah, when I went to
that
school,
was good.
I did it was
I think-
French, Spanish, and Latin.
I think at KC in the early days, especially in that 60s period, particularly, it was French, Spanish, and Latin. Because for Latin, over time, Latin became a dead language, and they phased that out, and it became just Spanish and French. But to your point, Mikey, Dogs would have been
French
very, very
teachers.
proud.
Teachers were from France.
Yes.
Some pretty French teachers. So.
Oh, absolutely. I remember this girl,
in
this
a
lady named.
boys' school.
There was a Miss Horsfield. I can never forget that woman because when you talk about beauty queen and all the way, everybody in the class, you know, the front, everybody, 32
Yeah,
boy and everybody in the front row, right?
Talking about the hen among the roosters.
You know, but what struck me is that because I went to KC, I was maybe a year behind Tyrone, and by the time I got to North Street, he would have left because he left school. I'm learning that he left in Fort Farm. And it, God, we were talking about this last night. You say, as a youth, when you decide, you recognize that this is your calling, it don't really matter, the formal education as we know, we love to challenge our youngsters, go get a degree and all of that. But if you know that this is what you want to do, and you're willing to plow everything into it, then there's, once you committed, that's it. And it was clear that Tyrone had made that commitment very early. Mikey?
And he was actually earning, that's the thing. But it's one thing to just say you don't want to finish school. But as Tota will tell you, when you get, no matter how small that little paycheck, when you have one weekend, you have more money than you ever thought you would have at age
15,
14,
16.
That's true.
That's
true.
And then you're in a room with people who you have looked up to, and them accepting you as a peer, as one of them, and you're being paid seemingly, is a mind-changing situation. I mean, it's an alternate. I mean, and then it depends on the status of your family, or your family is, what kind of, I mean, I know I could not have gotten away with it in my family, no matter how much I was earning. I would have had to finish school. But, but thank God for all of that, I mean, the fact.
Well, I want to show you something, Mikey. When I met Tyrone, I met him in 1970. At that time, he was well versed with the music, and some of the things that one has to know. Tyrone used to live on Broadleaf Road, along with Peter Tosh, which is how he got into the Wailers organization through Peter Tosh. Right now, during that period, he also met the Barrett brothers, Aston Barrett and Carly Barrett. Right. As everybody knows, Family and Carly, which became the backbone of Bob Marley and the Wailers. They had a club on Langston Road out east, which is where the Barrett brothers come from. And that's where Tyrone used to play. Now, Tyrone was playing with them. Tyrone left. And that's how I came in, because they found a keyboard player to play that weekend. And he left. They came to Excelsior looking for a keyboard player. They found me. I said, really, I don't play keyboard, but, I'm a trombone player in the school band at the time. I said, I'd love to see the band and see what you guys doing. So they said, all right, okay, come check out the rehearsal. I went to the rehearsal. They found this guy, Junior Boy, and he came and he played for one weekend, and he never came back. I guess it was quite a distance for him too, from Red Hills Road coming down to Langston Road. So he never turned back. I said, listen, man, Tota, you understand this thing. You understand keyboard. We're going to teach you how to play keyboard. That's how I end up being a keyboard player. Wow. Thanks to Family Man Barrett, David Bryan on guitar. Those two people mainly, that actually said, okay, you understand the rudiments of music already. We're going to teach you how to do this thing. And the rest is history, as we all know. But again, thanks to Tyrone, because if Tyrone never made that move and made that opening, I don't think I would have gotten that opportunity.
You heard them say
and
the fall
it so
of...
happens, yes, throughout life.
The fall of one is the rise of another.
Yeah, throughout life with me and Tyrone is the same thing. We both became keyboard players with the Wailers organization. Early on, Tyrone left Kingston and went to Ocho Rios. I left Kingston and went to Ocho Rios in the same job that Tyrone was in. So I was like following his footsteps all along. We just became really good friends, and over the years, and we keep in touch. Even though I eventually break off from the Marley organization and went with Inner Circle. We still maintain that communication.
We,
So
we talk about, yeah.
Hold on. I want to fill in some gaps here. So I met Tyrone officially when he was playing with the Caribs. I mean, me and Mikey Chung grew up together, so really close. So I met Tyrone with the Caribs. What happened between Ocho Rios and the Caribs? I mean, I don't know.
Okay, all right. The Caribs, he came forward to Kingston. He came back to Kingston because he was playing with Carl McLeod.
Tony DeCosta.
No, Tony DeCosta was a showman. He was a showman. Tony DeCosta did shows. He wasn't in a band per se. He did shows. He was more a performer that came and did a floor show. And that's we both were there doing that with various, not just in Nico Blanco, you name them. We did all of that stuff.
That was in Ocho Rios, the tourism circuit.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. I don't think enough is said though, and just remember your thoughts, you guys. But I don't think enough is said, as far as the in those days, that 1970s period, how entertainment business in the hotel industry contributed to the development of the music in Jamaica. And just listening to you talking about that there, Tota, I remember Miko Blanco in my youth days. I just go Grace Kennedy. We started to work on the North Coast as a sales rep. And those floor shows, Americana, Intercontinental Hotel, it would have been at the time. Right.
Yes.
And then you had all these other Happiness Unlimited and all these bands. This was first class entertainment in these hotels, especially on the weekends. I think on Monday night was a big night for shows, and then of course the weekend when the local traffic would come in, and these guys were honing their craft because, as you just said, you followed Tyrone into Ocho Rios. Tyrone would clearly have moved somewhere else because the entertainment was becoming so significant, the reggae music in particular.
But that even before that, I have to give you, and somebody mentioned it earlier, is schooling in music. He took it very seriously because in going to Ocho Rios at that time in the early mid-70s, I can't remember what year it was, about 73, 74, somewhere around there. Tyrone tapped into Lenny Hibberts because Lenny Hibberts was working at Shaw Park Hotel at the time. And he was a teacher also. Unfortunately, I didn't. I wish I had. Looking back, hindsight is a hell of a thing. I wish I had tapped it because Lenny was there teaching a lot of students that came under Lenny Hibbert, and Tyrone was one of those guys. Now, while we're in Ocho Rios, I will also say that this was the first time that I discovered reverb. You know of reverb, but you never know how it was made.
Right.
And Tyrone and I was just sitting down one day playing two cassette player. We had the same music in the two cassette player and playing them back at the same time. And we go like, hey, man. And we had this nice big reverb sound, just experimenting and doing stuff like that, That I'm going like, oh, so this is how reverb is made.
Well, here what we're going to do. We're going to reverb two tunes out of the catalog. Yes. And keep the listeners, apart from the historical element, we want to just infuse some of the things that bring all of us together. The music.
And before we get into the music, on a formal note, we're talking about Tyrone Downie, if you're just joining us. Born the 20th of May, 1956, and passed away the 5th of November this year, 2022, at the age of 26.
He was 66.
Ranger,
66.
Pianist, musician, producer, played keyboards, piano, Rhodes piano, organs, synthesizers, mellotron, and also the guitar. Was a good singer too. Was a little bit above average. But we're going to kick it off with the Maroon Thatch, Tyrone Downie. Okay, played Maroon Thatch, followed by Tribute to Slim Smith, Conversations, and then I played Tribute to Garvey, all done. Tyrone Downie, along with Maroon Tax was along with Dalton Brownie, Lincoln Style Scott, Errol Flabberholt, Guy Anthony.
Wow. You listen, that Conversations track, the heart and the soul of Jamaican music. Well, listen, I'm just a consumer, right? So, but I want to go back, Hyacinth, those early years. You knew, you and your relationship with Tyrone was not just purely from a music standpoint. I mean, like your brother Oscar, as a KC man, we grew up in the cadet unit and thing together. So I have a sense of what the environment was at the time. But help the listeners understand, how Tyrone and his placement in that period. Beeston Street, you talked about that. And just those youth days and the impact he had on you at the time.
Yeah, Tyrone was kind of mischievous, very playful, and he really, really loved to play the music. And he said to me, you see this language, French? I am going to learn it really well because I think I'm going to live in France. And later on, when it really did happen, he said, look at that. I am living in France. And we all know he was fluent. And he also lived part-time in Senegal. And Senegal is where it's a French colony. They speak French there. But as a little boy, he was he was a human. He was full of humanity. Like I said, mischievous, but very, very kind. Like my daughter would say, man, Uncle Tyrone is a comedian. And he would play on words a lot. He had that sense of humor that it's like you had to be on a certain level to get it. I mean, some people get it right away, and some you had to be on that level to pick it up.
He was a cunning linguist.
Right, you did pick it up. Oh, and another thing, Mikey, I want to tell you that after he left school and did, was really big in the music now, Dogs invited him back to KC, and he went there. And Doug had like a whole audience telling them about Tyrone and he was his best student. Tyrone said, I don't know that I was his best student. No. But anyway, the things that he started to talk about Tyrone made him cry. He stood up there and cried in front of Kingston College, because he never knew that Dogs was really thinking of him the way that he did.
Wow, that's a great addition to the story. To my when I think about Tyrone. But like most great keyboard players, and I'm sure Tota is the same. Tyrone had this great ability to multitask. In other words, he was always adjusting something. It could be 3 conversations taking place, and him playing something, and him working out something, and him just in tune with all of them. And him was aware of everybody that was in the room. So my knowledge, I grew up, almost the same age, and we became friends while he was at Carib, playing with the Caribs, that thing, because we used to look alike quite a bit at the time, and we used to fool up people that we were brothers.
Yeah. Hold that thought, Mikey. Hold that thought,
I had a car, him didn't have a car, so I became them chauffeur on a Saturday. When them got paid, I used to drive them all around the place and pay them.
Hold that thought, Mike. We're up on a break. Hold that thought. We're coming right back there because I can't imagine the two of fool up people.
No, man.
Let's take.
Yeah, but that is just by the way. Janko Lounge was the perfect place for date place for somebody who didn't have a lot of money because you went on there with a girl or two. And you know the man, there's roots getting introduced big up in the audience, and all of a sudden you look very important and things. But that started the kind of relationship between me and the man, that particular thing. But as Toto probably can verify, when as up to the average lay person, you see somebody on a bandstand playing a keyboard that you can't see, you have very little appreciation for how good they are, or the amount of work that's going involved, the amount of coordination that takes place. It was not until I started to play an instrument that you realize how good these people were to be doing what they were doing with all of these things taking place. So, Tyrone was this exceptional human being that had the ability to, in other words, and you could have his body language on a stage was one of the two. First time keyboard players were very stoic, they didn't want to show any emotion and things. He was the total opposite. He was into every phrase that he was playing, the grooves, and he brought this life to the music. And
I agree with you.
His personality, his personality just oozing out of the whole thing.
Also, one thing that I really want to bring about is ability to want and his credence the way he wanted to learn. Tyrone always wanted to learn. I remember during the making of the Rastaman Vibration album, which both he and I played keyboards on that, at about 2 p.m. every day, Tyrone says, "Gentlemen, I got to go." Again, he was going to the University of the West Indies, classes with Melba Liston, trombone player, American trombone player Melba Liston was giving classes there, which normally kids like us wouldn't even be able to get in there, but somehow Tyrone got in there and was doing that. So even during the making of the album, which was a very crucial album for the Wailers, he was still going to school. At this time, he knew pretty much everything that he needed to know. And one of the things I remember, I never forget him saying this to me. He said, "The more you learn, the more you earn." The more you learn, the more you earn. And I literally see where that is true.
Multi-instrumentalist, that's essential.
Yeah,
I would.
He brought something very special to us to a session. One of the great joys of my life is how people that I looked up to, the roles between us evolved into, as just being admirers to co-creators. I remember Mikey Chung saying to me one day, "Boy, you really," how proud he was of me, because I used to drive Mikey Chung to studio and go. And then one day, he and I were co-producing an album with Ernest Smith, and he looked at me and said, "Boy, we're really proud of you." And I said, "Listen, boss, you can take most of the credit." Tyrone brought up that special thing to a session. In other words, it's almost like there was a menu. I remember sometime we were working on a project and we were doing some overdubs. And he sat down and he played something. And I said, "Yeah," and said, "No, hold on 1 second." And he played about 5 different things that, I'd have accepted any one of them. But he had all of these ideas pent up in this body. And so it was just like, and he brought that to, I don't think it mattered. It was me. I think this is what he brought to music. He brought endless ideas.
Very true.
And and in terms of technology, he was always on the cutting edge of technology. He introduced me to sequencing and synthesizer phrasing and all and kind of things. I'm saying, whoa. So whatever he learned from the big stages in Europe or wherever he was operating, when he came back to Jamaica and came into a session, when it took about an hour to bring his equipment into the studio, the first thing. And no matter whether it was 1 song or 2 or 3 songs, he set up everything. So it gave all the young engineers tips on how to, trust me. One of the tragedies of people like the Tyrones and the Touts and things is that you guys leave Jamaica too quickly. There is so much mentoring that needs to take place in the Jamaican situation now. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we find that our greats too many times have to leave.
Hi there.
If you enjoyed that clip, go on over to our website at yardmedia.com, where you can watch the entire broadcast at your leisure. And while you're there, why don't you check out our other reggae music features? And before you leave, pick up some of our Jamaican reggae merchandise, and hey, don't forget to tell your friends.